and I didn't even know Jake Paul was fighting. So he's saying all this shit. I was in Italy. I didn't even know the guy was fighting. When Jake Paul lost to Fury, I haven't really paid attention to Jake Paul.
I have love for Jake too. I don't know what to fight.
There's a lot of things that Dana and I agree on. There have been personal attacks, which he started. I will point that out. Calling my fights fake, hiring coaches for Ben Askren, bringing in the steroid accusation.
Jake Paul just dropped a bombshell after Dana White publicly tore into him with a brutal reality check. Let's be real, Jake has been building his reputation as the king of cringe. From allegedly fixing a fight with Mike Tyson to dodging Andrew Tate's challenge, he's practically writing the playbook on how to...
The only time I ever talk about Jake Paul is if I'm asked about him. He just brought him up.
I have a great question.
I wouldn't have brought him up, right?
Embarrass yourself. This time, though, Dana didn't just call him out. He dismantled Jake's 4-year plan like a UFC surgeon, exposing moves so...
You think, with all the shit that I got going on and what we're doing, you think I'm thinking about Jake Paul?
No.
I'm not.
So what would one...
And I don't mean that in a way to shit on the...
No, he's making a lot of money.
It's just the truth.
Ridiculous, they make reality TV look authentic. According to Dana, Jake's team might already be scrambling to erase the evidence faster than Jake avoids real competition.
What we do in the UFC is the best in the world fight the best. That's what we do, you know. What Jake Paul and those guys do is completely different. And again, the kid's doing his thing. I'm not shitting on him. And listen, if smaller, older guys want to fight him, then they're doing their thing.
Started with a leaked fight script that blew the lid off Jake's planned showdown with Tyson. Every move, from Tyson's aggressive opening to Jake's cautious mid-round tactics, was pre-scripted.
And he calls people out for attention.
Yeah.
When you call Alex is a superstar right now.
The revelation turned what should have been an epic clash into a staged spectacle. Fans paid for a genuine battle, not a poorly rehearsed play masquerading as a fight. Instead, they got a live-action farce that has everyone questioning Jake's credibility. If you blink, you might miss the chaos. Dana White has never been one to hold back, and he didn't mince words when calling Jake Paul's antics a disgrace. Can anyone really argue with him?
I always thought that Netflix was crazy not to get into live sports sooner than they did. Those guys truly have a global footprint. I think they're late to the game, but it was a big success.
The performance of the broadcast, did that give you pause to do business with Netflix at all?
I didn't think the event was a great event, but they needed to do that. They knew Mike Tyson was going to bring in big...
Let's not forget Dana's main issue with Jake, the predictable blueprint he uses to pick his opponents. It's become a tired formula. Find someone older, smaller, or well past their prime. Tyron Woodley, check. Anderson Silva, check. And now Mike Tyson, a legend whose more to fame has more to do with his cannabis empire than his boxing career.
I don't know. What do you guys think about it? Who gives a shit what I think? It's not my fight. I love Mike Tyson, you know, personally as a friend, and he's one of my favorite athletes of all time.
Jake isn't after real competition. He's chasing headlines. But what happens when Jake steps into the ring with someone his own age and skill level? We already know. He loses. Tommy Fury proved that. And yet, Jake's antics don't stop there. His call-outs of stars like Canelo Alvarez and Alex Pereira are the cherry on top of the spectacle. Everyone knows these fights will never happen. They aren't real challenges. They're clout grabs to keep Jake trending. Dana sees through it, and so do the fans.
What did you expect? Seriously, when you stayed home and you turned on Netflix that night, were you like, holy f***, I'm about to see the greatest live sporting event of all?
The gimmicks and repetitive formula are wearing thin. How many times can Jake play the same trick before people stop watching? His strategy isn't evolving, and it's painfully obvious. Fans who once tuned in to Jake Paul's fights out of curiosity or amusement are now turning on him, accusing him of faking his entire career. The gimmicks, scripted fights, and hollow theatrics are wearing thin. Even
put together a training camp and come in, and, you know, I don't like to see guys fighting it. Be a 31-year age difference during that fight. Just, you guys know what I think of that.
Dana White, known for saving his sharpest critiques for UFC rivals, hasn't held back. Dana's latest barrage of criticism paints Jake as a calculated scam artist. And for once, the fans seem to agree. Dana has made it clear he doesn't see Jake as a legitimate fighter. To him, Jake Paul is a savvy marketer, a showman who knows how to sell a fight but falls flat when it comes to actually fighting. He's called Jake's career a circus act, a spectacle built on gimmicks and theatrics, rather than
and all the people that are, there's a lot of, in Portnoy went out and said that it was the greatest con job of all
skill or grit. While combat sports often thrive on big personalities, Dana's issue is that Jake's approach undermines the credibility of the sport he claims to love. The UFC, as Dana frequently emphasizes, is built on one core principle: the best fight the best. Whether it's Khabib Nurmagomedov cementing his legacy or Amanda Nunes dominating her division, real competition has always been at the heart of the UFC. Jake Paul's entertainment-first strategy stands in stark contrast, relying on matchmaking designed for headlines rather than genuine challenges. Dana openly contrasts the UFC's ethos with Jake's tactics, making it clear that Jake's
an older guy who's smaller than you.
Great. What could he?
It's the same blueprint.
So what could he do where he could get in the same room with you?
It's the same blueprint.
Well, I don't think the UFC makes that much money if someone fights Jake Paul.
I'm asking Dana White.
Yeah, like it's just
so he's not fighting Alex.
Carefully crafted spectacles have no place in the world of true competition. Tyron Woodley and Anderson Silva were once legends in their prime, but by the time they faced Jake Paul, their best days were far behind them. Dana White sees this as part of Jake's deliberate strategy, padding his record by avoiding real risks. And then there's the reality TV element of Jake's career. Dana didn't hold back, calling it a scripted drama designed solely to go viral. The leak
doing the UFC is the best in the world fight the best. That's what we do, What Jake Paul and those guys do is completely different. And again, the kid's doing his thing. I'm not shitting on him. And listen, if smaller, older guys want to fight him, then they're doing their thing.
Fight script for Jake's bout against Mike Tyson drove the point home. Every move, from Tyson's iconic bob and weave to Jake's dramatic fifth-round comeback, was pre-planned. This wasn't a fight. It was a poorly executed play, complete with stage directions. For Dana, it was the ultimate insult to a sport built on raw competition and genuine effort. The Tyson fight was a disaster on multiple levels. Days before the event, the fight script leaked on social media, exposing every pre-rehearsed move. Fans who expected a clash of eras, a 57-year-old legend versus the self-proclaimed problem child, were left disappointed.
Where his head's at in life in terms of what he wants to do.
Okay, you didn't answer the question. Do you have any interest in it?
I don't know. I mean, Andrew has messaged me over the past few days, and
instead of a genuine battle, they got a spectacle that would have embarrassed even pro wrestling. Despite not having fought competitively in years, Tyson still managed to highlight Jake's glaring lack of skill, even with his age and physical limitations. Tyson landed key shots that exposed Jake, showing just how outclassed he was. Tyson's dominance was undeniable. The backlash from Jake Paul's controversial fight with Mike Tyson didn't stop,
boss. And two, he won't do it. He knows better.
With fans, Dana White, a longtime critic of Jake's career, doubled down. Dana called the Tyson fight a stain on boxing's already fragile reputation. His frustration wasn't just about the fight itself, but what it symbolized. To Dana, Jake Paul's antics represent a growing issue in combat sports, the erosion of authenticity.
I'm less talk now, let's just fucking go.
Yo, but you know for a fact, me and Jake will travel to Romania. We will make this happen. We'll do it wherever you want, whatever conditions you want. Two brothers, one king.
Fights are reduced to viral moments and scripted drama. The hard work and sacrifice of genuine fighters are overshadowed. While Jake has been involved in controversies before, the Tyson fight marked a turning point. It revealed the lengths he's willing to go to maintain his spotlight, even if it means sacrificing the trust of his audience. For Dana, it was confirmation that Jake isn't interested in being a fighter. He's interested in being a brand. And while that strategy might keep him trending for now, it's not sustainable in a sport that values respect, skill, and authenticity. As fallout from the Tyson fight continues, Jake's approach to boxing is under more scrutiny than ever. The leaked fight...
Pereira would kill him. Pereira would kill Jake Paul.
Pereira.
Who?
Alex.
Pereira.
Oh my God, exactly. It'd be murder.
You think
That's
that
what I
fight would
told
happen?
Jake
Well,
yesterday. Murder.
What else I was saying about Dana too is like the
But
boxing.
how's that fight possibly going to happen?
I
That's just
wonder
not going to happen.
The commission would even let that fight out.
Night script, the uproar on social media, and Dana White's scathing critique have painted a damning picture of a career built more on style than substance. Whether Jake can adapt and prove himself as a legitimate fighter remains to be seen. For now, the shadow of the Tyson fight looms large, a shadow that, in the world of combat sports, isn't easily shaken. The idea of Alex Pereira versus Jake Paul sounds like a social...
Boxing. He's
He'd
talking
kick
about boxing.
his head to another planet. It would be...
We talked about this. Jake calls people out that he knows that aren't going to fight him, bro.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
And he calls people out for attention.
Yeah.
When you call... Alex is a superstar right now.
social media fever dream, and Dana White didn't hold back in explaining why it's pure fantasy. Alex Pereira isn't just another fighter. He's one of the most dangerous men in combat sports. With a kickboxing record of 33-7 and the distinction of being the only man to knock out Israel Adesanya, Pereira has repeatedly proven himself on the world stage. Dana made it clear if Jake ever stepped...
Do you think Alex Pereira is bigger than Jake Paul in the world today?
Yeah.
Interesting.
...into a ring, MMA or boxing, with Pereira, it would be, in his words, murder. Jake, of course, sees things differently. He thrives on calling out big names, knowing these fights will never happen. Canelo Alvarez, Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor, and now Alex Pereira, each call-out is less about securing real challenges and more about grabbing headlines. Pereira, fresh off his UFC 291 victory over Jan Blachowicz...
You know, there's a lot of... Portnoy went out and said that it was the greatest con job of all time. I mean, if you didn't think that that's the way the fight, I don't know what people expect.
On July 29, 2023, is at the peak of his career. Naturally, Jake saw an opportunity, but calling out Pereira, a fighter whose striking is leagues ahead of most professional boxers, let alone Jake, only highlights how calculated and hollow his challenges are. Let's be real, Jake's career has been built on cherry-picking opponents who lack the experience, physicality, or both to truly threaten him. Tyron Woodley, Anderson Silva, Mike Tyson. Each was a carefully chosen opponent to inflate Jake's record without risking real damage. Challenging Pereira only underscores the smoke and mirrors behind Jake's strategy. Alex Pereira is a different breed of fighter. Skilled, precise, and downright terrifying. This is a man who lands punches like sledgehammers and dismantles opponents with surgical precision.
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. Bro, I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful now. I've got Fed agents in my house. Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful.
The idea of Jake Paul even suggesting a fight with Pereira is almost laughable, like an amateur chess player challenging Magnus Carlsen and expecting to win. Dana White didn't hold back, highlighting the absurdity of the matchup and pointing out that Pereira's drawing power crushes Jake's. He specifically referenced Jake's fight with Nate Diaz on August 5, 2023, which reportedly underperformed in pay-per-view sales. In contrast, Pereira's fights consistently generate massive attention, especially among hardcore fight fans. To Dana, this isn't just an unfair comparison. It's a stark reminder of how far Jake has fallen in relevance. Jake's playbook is clear. Manipulate the media, create hype, and avoid real challenges. Against Pereira, it's not even a question. Jake Paul's strategy has always been to stir up drama and keep the spotlight on himself. It's worked so far, but the cracks are beginning to show. Fans and insiders are increasingly seeing through his exaggerated marketing tactics. His callouts are viewed as stunts rather than serious challenges, and his claims about UFC involvement are met with widespread skepticism. Even Dana White, no stranger to feuds and theatrics, seems exasperated by Jake's antics. Dana has labeled them desperate attempts to remain relevant in a world that's moving on. His response? A classic mic drop. "I don't think about Jake Paul," he's said repeatedly, making it clear that Jake's efforts to bait him into a larger feud are falling flat. Yet beneath Dana's dismissal lies a sharp rebuke. He sees Jake as more than just a nuisance. He represents a larger issue in combat sports, the rise of spectacle over substance. To Dana, Jake is not a true fighter but a marketer, prioritizing headlines over hard work.